Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. With the introduction of the new RF, I had to get Patrick involved here because this one says Pro Staff, this one doesn't. And a lot of people have asked me, is it a Pro Staff? Stay tuned. Hey guys, do you need help organizing your tennis life? Well, think Go! We got the Axiom line here, the 9-pack duffel, my favorite bag, the 9-pack Axiom 2.0. They even make a 12-pack if you're going on tour. And my favorite backpack of all time. I love that bag. So if you want to organize your tennis life, think Go. Alright, so we've tested out the RF a few times now. I thought, who else would be the best person to come out and try this than my man Patrick here, since he has played with the RF for, what are we talking, 4 or 5 years now?
Yeah, I think I started actually playing tennis in 2019, and my first racket was a Vocal V8 300 grams from eBay. I got 2 for $30.
Well, okay.
I don't know how old they were.
Well, that was worth it then.
But I only used those for what? I think I used those for like not even 6 weeks, because then you and I connected and you're like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
And then when I went through the demos, RF came out on top quickly.
Got it.
And we never looked back.
So
I don't know any other racket.
We're referring to RF as in Pro Staff, right? Now, there's nowhere on this thing that says Pro Staff. Right? Nowhere. So, who better than to know the difference between Pro Staff and no Pro Staff RF than Patrick? Okay? Because I have my own opinions, and I want to hear his. All right? So, we're going to go get a little hitting done, and then tell you why this might be missing the words Pro Staff. Stay tuned. So, before I throw my 2 cents in, you've been hitting with this for, let's say, 5 years, okay, or close to that. What does the non-Pro Staff RF feel like?
We should note this is modified.
They're both modified.
And this is modified.
Yes.
So both in the sense of Fed specs.
Right. Correct.
Granted, I think we added a little swing weight on mine.
We
Just a
didn't.
touch.
We didn't. It was just naturally that
It was
way.
naturally
because,
that, so it's a little bit, yeah.
So this is fed specs with the lead here.
And
We tried to
silicone.
remake this with lead underneath too. So this is a modified racket too. It is probably 10 grams difference just because the static weight in which it started at was about 10 ounce difference. So I didn't want to keep adding lead to recreate this. I just wanted to see what it would be like. I mean, given he's retired and it doesn't say pro staff, to see what a retired non-pro staff would feel like in Fed's hands.
Right. So yeah, from whatever YouTube stuff I saw about the new one, I was thinking, okay, he made it a little bit lighter for everybody, and he made it an inch bigger, right? Supposed to be a 98.
98.
It's a 97.
Mm-hmm.
So I was excited to try it, but I gotta say, first off, when I grabbed it, it felt very head heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I felt very head heavy, but swinging it, I think the first 5 balls I launched well over your head into the parking lot, into like some neighbor's pool. And I was like, oh my. And it felt like, we
Babe
swung.
style.
Yeah, kept swinging until I finally kind of reined it in. And it's way more powerful than this guy.
There's more
Right?
wow.
Yeah, definitely had ball penetration. But I think the biggest thing that threw me was I felt like I had to really work for spin. I mean, I already know I don't hit with a lot of spin. I've been working on getting more spin, but I felt like I had to work a lot harder. Like really turn that thing over. But when I did it with the perfect time, I was rewarded. Right?
Okay.
I would say in terms of just feel, this one felt like all the weight was here. Even though like it first felt head heavy, it actually...
It's concentrated.
Yeah,
yes.
There's a little bit of belly fat right here, right? And I couldn't get past that. Whereas I think, on how you modded this, I think more the weight's kind of more distributed down lower half of the racket.
Correct.
This seemed to be just right here.
Right.
So it felt, I felt a little laggy at first, which was kind of good and bad because, like I said, I was launching everything.
Right.
I mean, I think after the first 15, 20 minutes we were talking, I was like, I hate to say it, but it feels a little Big Bubba-ish. And I didn't want to say Big Bubba because it's smaller. But, let's say, a Big Bubba says 115, maybe even 105. This is like
the 98 version of it.
102, 101, right?
Okay.
It just felt, and you said it was probably because the beam's thicker.
Yep.
Right? It just had that feel, and I couldn't get past that. But yeah, so I don't want to call it Bubba. Like I could see totally intermediate players, maybe even a beginner jumping to intermediate who needs a little more weight. This would be awesome, right?
Definitely.
I was launching them all over the place. Well, you were subject to my launching because you were shagging balls more than hitting them.
So this is. I understand what you're saying because I feel like all the coaches said the same thing. This particular racket, you literally have to commit to your shot and just kind of go for it. There's no kind of turning back. If you second guess your shot, we home run in it. You just have to go through it and just whatever happens. So you can tell by the beam it's just a little thicker, right? The weight distribution is not the same as this. Like when you come through this, you get actually a pretty fast head. You can actually change your mind towards the end if you want to swipe it. It's a little harder to change your mind on this one. When it comes through, there's just so much mass coming through that to flick it in the last second is pretty hard. You gotta be pretty strong in that wrist and that forearm to do that.
Thicker beam and that extra inch really played a role.
Extra square.
Because I didn't feel like the sweet spot was any bigger. But it definitely had that feeling of, like I would say like 55 and over who's like still wants a little more extra power but still has their hands.
Right.
They'd love that.
Yeah, no, this is definitely, Coach Rob would, this kind of suits Coach Rob's swing style.
perfectly. But even like the other coaches were saying, if you don't commit, it's not going to go what you want to do, because it's going to just plow too much. I feel like. So a lot of people have said, how's it feel? How's it feel? And what I always say is, it's not a pro staff. It's not a pro staff. It is not this racket. It is different. It's a different family. I mean, there's a reason why they created an RF family and an RF line to separate this racket from this racket. There will be a pro staff line that will continue. Whether it continues with RF specs will be in question. So we'll have to figure that one out when they do, probably next year in 2025. Okay, but as I emphasize, this is not a pro staff. Do not expect that. Okay?
Really isn't any of the Wilson line that I could think of. It's not, like they just put out the Shift.
Mm-hmm.
Shift's completely different from that.
Totally.
So
I mean, the more I look at it, it is a Clash 98 mold. That's my guess, because that's what it looks like to me, without Clash technology in it. Obviously, they've stiffened it in certain places, made, added weight in obviously this area, because that's what all of us feel. But it is what it is, and hey, if Fed can put his name on it, it's got to be good for a lot of people, right? But as I emphasize, it's not a pro staff.
Well, he put his name on this one, and it was not very good for a lot of people.
Well, a lot of people still bought it, though. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, so different families, guys. Same person, different family. All right. Patrick, thank you so much for doing this test with me. As I emphasize, this is not a pro staff. All right? Guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.